Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. After arriving at Huyang City, the Heart Shadow sect moved very quickly. First, they occupied the majority of cave mansions in the Primal Chaos Armor sector. Then they paid visits to the Master of the Flame Wind Guild and Lord Luo He to soothe the two major sources of threat. After that, they began the most crucial step of their plan. Taking real control over the entire city. While they occupied the cave mansions of the 5 great families, they had already dispatched their subordinates to seize the 3 major forbidden areas within the city. Boom 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 tilde tilde tilde, 5 super large mechanical secret treasures had already flown to one of the forbidden areas, from which the Huyang Legion had already retreated, leaving only some Huyang guards still defending it. What are you trying to do? The Huyang guards asked nervously as they watched the 5 super large mechanical secret treasures. Surrender unconditionally, or die, a voice came down from above as the imposing presence of the 5 super large mechanical secret treasures enveloped the entire forbidden area. The Huyang guards looked at each other. The generals and commanders had already retreated to the city owner's mansion. The defenders of the forbidden area were just ordinary Huyang guards. The city owner's mansion had no expectation that these ordinary guards could hold the forbidden area, they only hoped to confuse the enemy. We are all just true gods of void space and ordinary true gods. Resisting would be a death sentence. There's no way we can resist. The gap was too great, so these ordinary Huyang guards obediently surrendered. Sigh. Soon, this group of Huyang guards was captured and taken inside a spatial secret treasure, and the 5 super large mechanical secret treasures shrank down and swiftly drilled into the interior of the forbidden area. With their combined strength, they quickly broke through the layers of protections of the forbidden area. The base of the formation in the forbidden area had already been dismantled. The city's grand formation can now only maintain the most superficial power, they said. We haven't even attacked yet, and the 5 great families had already dismantled the core of the grand formation. The 5 super large mechanical stream secret treasures went in to investigate and found that everything that could be dismantled by the city owner's mansion had been dismantled. With the 3 major forbidden areas prematurely dismantled, only the ordinary formations integrated throughout the city were still operational, leaving the Huyang city's grand formation with only a mere 10 to 20% of its power. Set up the sect great formation as quickly as possible. Quickly. From inside the 5 super large mechanical secret treasures, eternal true gods immediately flew out, rapidly setting up the formation according to the plan. The Heart Shadow sect had many sect great formations. As a former sect of godly king level, their formations were much more mysterious than the Huyang city's grand formation, and the most top-notch formations even required a primal chaos overlord to activate. However, at this moment, what they set up were 3 simpler ones, which could be deployed in a short amount of time. Movable formations generally have less power than fixed formations. These 3 sect great formations overlaid together were only slightly stronger than the fixed Huyang city's grand formation. However, once a great battle occurs, the impact of the formations, aiding in battle, is still significant. The 3 sets of sect great formations needed 7 locations to set up the formations. These forbidden areas had sufficient space and were thus utilized for this purpose. The Primal Chaos Armor sector of Huyang City resembled a huge ring surrounding the city owner's mansion. At this moment, all of the ring, except for a very small point, Lord Luo His cave mansion, had become the encampment for the Heart Shadow sect. Sect leader, the 5 great families had prematurely dismantled the core of the 3 major forbidden area formations. Our sect disciples are currently setting up the formations at full speed, and it won't be long before the setup is successful, an elder responsible for the formation placement immediately reported. It must be fast. The master of the Heart Shadow sect stood atop the highest mountain in Primal Chaos Armor sector, looking around. Elder Yunyi, take immediate control of the city gates. From this moment, strictly prohibit entry and exit. Yes. Several elders were nearby, each leading a group of disciples. With a command, 8 super large mechanical secret treasures immediately flew towards the city gates. During their flight, they even repeatedly forced their way through the void. Clearly, as the power of the Huyang city's grand formation weakened, the spatial seals were also greatly reduced. The entire Huyang city could turn into a battlefield at any time. We need to leave quickly. Let's leave this dangerous place first. Many cultivators sensed the danger and were rushing towards the city gates. Unfortunately, even with only 10 to 20% power in Huyang city's grand formation, there were very few eternal true gods who could force their way through the void on their own. They had to fly slowly, and it would take some time to reach the city gates. Huff, huff, huff. Continuously, cultivators left. Suddenly, two super-large mechanical secret treasures traveled through the void and arrived at the East City Gate. Sir the noalpha.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Seal the City Gate. A terrifying power enveloped the entire East City Gate, and a swath of darkness descended, directly capturing the guards at the gate. Bad, they are sealing the city gates. Cultivators still on their way, who hadn't reached the gates yet, saw this scene from afar and felt a chill in their hearts. Meanwhile, the cultivators, who had already reached the outside of the city, breathed a sigh of relief. They are taking action so quickly. Outside the city, the clan leader of the Zhu clan, Zhu Hu, looked at the scene from afar. I brought out 50% of our clan at top speed. But the remaining clan members, that's a bit troublesome. The Zhu clan has been rooted in Huyang city for too long, with numerous family members infiltrating every industry in the city. Whether it's the Huyang Guards or the Huyang Legion, even members of many other forces, there are descendants of the Zhu clan. Even if they wanted to escape, Zhu Hu could only take the numerous family members, who were already in the family's cave mansion, directly into the mansion's secret treasure. As for those scattered throughout the city, he had no time to gather them anymore. Of the Zhu clan's eternal true gods, only two are in the city. Zhu Yu and Zhu Fuqing, both of who have wide connections and are members of a major forces branch. They should be able to protect themselves, thought Zhu Hu. With them here, they should be able to protect more of our clansmen. After all, 50% of the clan members, many of whom are elites, are indispensable to the Zhu clan. It's all up to Zhu Yu and Fuqing, these two kids. Zhu Hu sighed, the thin old man feeling unprecedented weakness. Against the Heart Shadow sect, they had no capacity to resist. Such a powerful sect, even Yu Kingdom's strongest eternal true gods could only try to save their lives. Zhu Hu immediately traveled through the void, quickly leaving, heading toward neighboring Primal Chaos Prefecture. 8 super-large mechanical secret treasures hurried to the 4 city gates to prevent entry and exit. Once the sect's great formation was completely set up, the dark formation enveloped the entire Huyang city, sealing it entirely, leaving no dead angles, neither in the sky nor beneath the ground. The original 4 city gates were also enveloped and sealed by a dark light, no longer allowing passage. We've succeeded. We can go back now. Looking up at the vast sect great formation, the 8 super-large mechanical secret treasures guarding the 4 city gates began to depart. The sect's great formation sealed everywhere. There was absolutely no way out. Want to break out by force? Possibly in the whole city. Only Lord Luo, he would have the strength to do so. The Heart Shadow sect was even hoping that Lord Luo he would leave on his own. This isn't Huyang city's formation. The Heart Shadow sect set up a formation, enveloping the whole city. All the eternal true gods within Huyang city sensed the change in the formation, and with their knowledge, they could immediately tell the difference between this dark great formation and the original Huyang city formation. Things are getting more interesting. Flame Wind Pavilion, Master Emperor Chu Yu watched the scene leisurely. During his travels across the land of origin, he had witnessed various conflicts. The conflict in Huyang city was merely a small ripple in his cultivation life. My Flame Wind Pavilion remains neutral among all parties, and it's also not easy to interfere in wars, said the deputy pavilion master, a figure shrouded in grey mist. If every branch could interfere in wars at will, the Flame Wind Pavilion could not remain neutral, Emperor Chu Yu said. Master, with the Heart Shadow sect just arriving, you've deciphered the law of primal chaos. It seems the Heart Shadow sect is still your lucky star, the deputy pavilion master laughed. Ha ha ha. Emperor Chu Yu's laughter was hearty and joyful. After enduring long years, guided even by secret tomes, it took me until today to reach the primal chaos realm, Emperor Chu Yu reflected. For a law lineage to reach the primal chaos realm, it's very difficult. His cultivation technique was a secret passed down by the imperial family of the flame-wind ancient country, much more powerful than the common godly king-level inheritances. From eternal true god to primal chaos overlord, the usual method of inheritance is continuous accumulation, eventually making a sudden breakthrough. But in the imperial family of the flame-wind ancient country, there are detailed guides that lower the difficulty of breakthroughs significantly when followed step by step. Unlike Luo Feng, who has been accumulating aimlessly, he possessed the will of a godly king, a perfect divine body bringing immense soul power, and studied both the great Tao of life origin and the mysteries of destruction's origin. He grasped more techniques in the primal chaos realm than Emperor Chu Yu, yet still couldn't break through. I have the guidance of the secret tome, combined with the complementary 9 techniques of the primal chaos realm and numerous resources assisting me. Only then did I break through today, Emperor Chu Yu said. I wonder when Luo he will be able to break through. Reaching the primal chaos realm in the law lineage is the minimum threshold for becoming a guest elder in Emperor Chu's lineage. He has also accumulated quite deeply, but breaking through to the primal chaos realm also requires some chance, said the deputy pavilion master. By the way, master, when are you going back? When are you going to report your breakthrough to the clan? No rush, Emperor Chu Yu said. I've already reported to the great ancestor, who asked me to keep it a secret for now. He will send resources over, and once my godly body is fully grown and my strength completely consolidated, then I'll go back. The deputy pavilion master showed a pleased expression. Whatever the great ancestor instructs you to do, just do it. In the imperial clan of the flame-wind ancient country, those who cultivated unlimited godly bodies were elite members, too. In Emperor Chu's lineage, after countless ages, there were almost 100 people with unlimited godly bodies, each of whom could directly contact the great ancestor. The deputy pavilion master, in contrast, had a relatively lower status within the clan. After all, even as eternal true gods in the bloodline cultivation system who were very powerful, the imperial clan had numerous such members, naturally not eligible to contact the great ancestor. The great ancestor of Emperor Chu's lineage was one of the emperors of the flame-wind ancient country, known as Emperor Chu. The unlimited godly body in the primal chaos realm is more majestic in size and slower in growth. Additionally, I also need to practice secret techniques to consolidate my strength, Emperor Chu Yu said. I hope that before I leave, Luo he can break through. Then I can take him back with me. Within 1 or 2 eras, you should be able to fully consolidate, master. How could Luo he break through so quickly? The deputy pavilion master said. Being stuck at a bottleneck for a few thousand, or even tens of thousands of eras is quite normal. Once my strength is consolidated and if he hasn't broken through, I'll leave him a talisman, and we'll go back first. Emperor Chu Yu looked at the chaos within the city, then stepped into the small building. The master of the Heart Shadow sect stood atop the mountain, gazing at the vast expanse of Huyang City. Upon seeing the dark grand array enveloping the entire city, the master of the Heart Shadow sect's eyes were icy cold as he indifferently said, "Begin the pillaging plan. Let's earn a fortune from Huyang City." Yes. The 3 elders behind him excitedly complied and immediately left to carry out the pillaging plan. The master of the Heart Shadow sect looked at the city and murmured, "Ever since we lost our sect's foundation, my Heart Shadow sect has been cut off from income. All this time, we've been depleting the sect's past savings. A powerful sect, with thousands of eternal true gods, a massive number of true gods of void space, and countless disciples of true gods, the expenditure of each era was enormous. They could withstand the drain for a short period, but as time went on and resources were depleted, the Heart Shadow sect would have to continue splintering. A city as big as Huyang, pillage it thoroughly once, and it's worth collecting residence fees over dozens of eras," the master of the Heart Shadow sect pondered, "although there's a good chance of victory in this war. If the Marquis of Zhujiang calls for strong enough reinforcements, my Heart Shadow sect could still possibly be defeated. In terms of power under the Marquis of Zhujiang's command alone, it certainly wasn't a match for the Heart Shadow sect. But if a godly king from the Yu kingdom sent elite forces to aid the Marquis of Zhejiang, that would be a significant problem. Preserve the elites of the Heart Shadow sect, then pillage thoroughly once more. Even if we are defeated, we'll still come out ahead, the master of the Heart Shadow sect thought. In times of weakness for the sect, he didn't care if mediocre disciples died. The death of mediocre disciples would, after all, save on expenses. I wonder how much we can pillage from the entire Huyang city, the master of the Heart Shadow sect's eyes filled with anticipation. The sight of 9 super-large mechanical secret treasures, bearing hundreds of large flying boats arrived in a bustling commercial district of Huyang city where large forces had branches, weapon secret treasures, bloodline exquisites, and other major shops, as well as numerous places of pleasure. Exclude the 8 major force branches and the cave mansion of Lord Luo He. Do not spare any eternal true gods, or true gods of void space. A voice commanded, anyone who dares to resist, kill. Yes. The numerous disciples aboard the hundreds of large flying boats were thrilled. They knew well that while true gods seemed to be the most numerous in the city, the true gods were actually the poorest, unwilling to risk their few primal chaos crystals, and would only try to earn more once they'd spent them all. To pillage the true gods of the entire city. Firstly, there were too many, making the pillage very troublesome. Secondly, the gains from such pillaging would be minimal. On average, each true god might only possess a few primal chaos crystals. Thirdly, the Heart Shadow sect might have future plans to rule over Huyang city. The countless true gods of Huyang would be their subjects. For these reasons, they refrained from laying hands on the true gods. But excluding the 8 major force branches and the cave mansion of Lord Luo He, the Heart Shadow sect would not let any other eternal true gods, or true gods of void space escape. The majority of a city's wealth was in the hands of the eternal true gods, and true gods of void space. Seal everything. A large number of disciples swiftly sealed off a major force branch, Cloud Treasure Tower, which spanned a large area, its many pavilions displaying a multitude of treasures. What are you doing? We are the Cloud Treasure Tower's Huyang City branch. Are you going to take action against us? In the Cloud Treasure Tower branch, there were 3 eternal true gods and numerous members, who were true gods of void space, all shocked by the sight of the many disciples of the Heart Shadow sect surrounding the place. Cloud Treasure Tower branch. A blood-robed lady from the Heart Shadow sect walked in and sighed, "My Heart Shadow sect has been too poor for too long. So please, Cloud Treasure Tower, lend a hand. All treasures of the Cloud Treasure Tower branch, including all the treasures on your persons, hand them all over." Her voice was soft and sinister, but what she said made the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower, the deputy owners, and all the other members feel a chill in their hearts. Not a single primal chaos stone can be spared, the blood-robed lady said indifferently. A thorough search by our Heart Shadow sect is necessary, opposition will be met with death. Upon hearing this, the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower, the 2 deputy owners, and numerous members who were true gods of void space felt a tremble of despair. They worked for Cloud Treasure Tower to accumulate resources. Now all their resources were to be pillaged. The Cloud Treasure Tower branch belongs to my Lord Marquis, the owner of the Cloud Treasure Tower said anxiously, his large single eye filled with urgency. Lord Marquis will surely come to know of this. Your Lord Marquis, once he knows, will surely understand the Heart Shadow sect's position, the blood-robed lady replied. Demanding all treasures to be handed over. Isn't keeping not a single primal chaos stone too excessive? A true god of void space couldn't help but speak up, as they'd accumulated over long years, and now it was all to be claimed. They were all entertaining thoughts of desperate resistance. Upon one glance from the blood-robed lady, that area's group of true gods of void space disintegrated silently into dust, each met their death, leaving behind their weapons and treasures. A true god of void space dares to speak up. The blood-robed lady looked towards the 3 leaders of the Cloud Treasure Tower. Or do you wish to resist as well? I'll hand it over, one of the deputy owners immediately said eagerly. Can we avoid a body search? The search is mandatory, the blood-robed lady addressed the 3 of them. Those who resist will still die. The so-called body search was an intrusion by divine power to thoroughly inspect the body, including the true god's heart, completely trusting one's life to another. Not many eternal true gods would be willing to do so. Yet, faced with the threat of death, The three leaders of the Cloud Treasure Tower eventually bowed their heads. A mandatory search. An elderly man of simple appearance looked at the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect in front of him, and then looked up at the super-large mechanical treasure in the sky. I willingly offer all my accumulated treasures. Isn't that enough? Sir, the Novelier.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The search is mandatory, an eternal true god of the Heart Shadow sect said to him. If it were based on voluntary compliance, they feared the vast majority of cultivators would hide their treasures, and it would be good enough if even half were surrendered. This video will end here.